Welcome to the League of Women Voters of Manatee County Candidate Forum. I am Ruth Heronshar, President of the Manatee League. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan public policy organization that encourages informed and active participation in government. The League has both women and men as members. The League does not support or oppose any candidate or party. This presentation is being recorded and will be posted on the Manatee League website, and Manatee Educational Television is recording and will post on their website. Reference can be made to the video and it can be posted or shown in its entirety. However, it is the property of the League of Women Voters, and partial showing or posting cannot be used without written permission from the Manatee League. The Republican candidates for Manatee County Commission District 1 are Elizabeth Arnold, John Dunn, Michael Harrison, Adam Johnson, Mark Stanoch, and Leland Taylor. The winner of the Republican primary will face Sari Lindros-Balamaki in the general election. Today's candidate forum rules call for civility on the part of both candidates and the audience. The hallmark of democracy is the willingness of our community to treat each other with courtesy and respect. It is in that spirit that we are here this afternoon to engage in a vital part of our democratic process, a civilized discussion of the important issues that confront our communities. Candidates will have 1 minute to answer a question, and each candidate will answer each of the questions. I will be rotating through the candidates starting alphabetically. At the end of the program, each candidate will have 1 minute for their closing statement. Linda Long will be managing time. When she says time, please finish your sentence and move on, and I will move on to the next candidate. At the end of the forum, the candidates will each have 1 minute for a close and appeal for your vote. We ask all candidates to speak only for themselves and not provide insight into their opponents' positions. There will be no rebuttals. And so we will begin. Candidate Arnold, what is your work experience, and especially what public service, community involvement, and leadership positions have you had?
So I've spent the last 10 years attending a lot of the BOCC meetings and speaking on issues that citizens feel rather strongly about, and also going to planning commission meetings. I've spoken about all kinds of environmental issues and development issues. And before that, I worked for a Fortune 500 company, utility company, for over 22 years. And my last position there was Director of Treasury Operations over 6 departments and over 100 employees. I was in charge of budgets and all the cash coming into the corporation, all the cash going out of the corporation, purchasing multi-million dollars of equipment, and had a very big responsible position there.
Thank you. Candidate Dunn, answer the same question about your experience. You need to unmute.
Yeah.
Thank you.
To interrupt people, like clearing my throat or something, but talking. I have a public service in emergency room medicine, where I worked as a technician at Lakewood Ranch Medical Center in the emergency room for a few years, and then I joined the Air Force as a medic. And when I worked there, when I served in the military, I made it to the rank of staff sergeant. I had supervised troops, and I ran multi-million-dollar programs as well, with ambulance services and emergency services programs, ordering and equipment, and maintaining those budgets and programs, along with supervisory skills with those. And then I think it's directly transferable with the public service that I did as an EMT in the ER as well. And then that experience led me to fraud, waste, and abuse standards with the government programs that I was running as well. And then, of course, as a medic, I want to take care of people. So.
Thank you. Candidate Harrison, same question about your experience.
Well, for the last 22 years, I've been a pastor at New Wine Worship Center, which is a great public service. I appreciate them allowing me to do. I've ran my own business for the last 35 years. I've been a member of the Florida Cracker Trail Association on the board there, helping set budgets and spend money that we have to be real frugal of. And that's been for about 35 years. I've been doing that. So I've been in the public service for quite a while. I ran my own business for a while, and you have to keep within your budgets and know what you're spending and know what you have left. So it's been a great run for me. I love people, and that's why I'm in this race.
Thank you. Candidate Johnson, same question, your experience.
We'll kind of start from the center of the things. I have 5 sons. We've been raising them now for 19 years now. I think everything starts at your house. I've also been a worship pastor for several years, where we're bringing people together and serving our community. I think all strong families, all community starts at church. So we've done that nationally. I've worked with the APP, the American Principles Project, to have President Trump sign an executive order saying there are only 2 genders. I've worked with multiple national groups all over the country to get policy passed with messaging, because I believe that everything that you want to have passed, need to have passed, starts with making sure people are engaged and understand what's going on, how we can stop it, or how we can push it forward.
Thank you. Candidate Stanoch, the same question about your experience.
Okay, Ruth, hi. Thanks so much. Well, I have an extensive background in business, about 40 years. I've created 2 technology startups, and I've held executive and management positions at Fortune 50 companies. I've created hundreds of jobs during my career, and during my career, I learned the importance of fiscal responsibility, the value of long-range strategic planning. I also learned to focus on solutions rather than just on complaints. Now, over the past 5 years, civically, I've been involved in several conservative organizations, including Manatee County Liberty Caucus, Lakewood Ranch Republican Club, and Manatee Patriots. I also served as chairman of the Manatee County Doge Committee, and finally, I launched 4 years ago a Victims of Communism Scholarship Program, which in recent years has awarded $9,000 in scholarships to Manatee County High School students for their work on describing the evils of communism.
Thank you. Candidate Taylor, same question, your experience.
First, thank you for having us and hosting this forum. I began my career actually working on behalf of local government in Tallahassee. As a lawyer, I've served in various leadership positions with the Florida Bar, including on the YLD Board of Governors for terms both in the 20th Circuit and the 12th Circuit. I've chaired the Affordable Housing Committee as an advisory committee for the County Commission, as well as currently chairing the IST Committee, which is an oversight committee here in Manatee County. As a lawyer, I've held different leadership positions here in our county, and like Mr. Johnson and the rest of our candidates, I also helped raise a fine family here with my youngest just graduating from coming to high school here recently.
Thank you very much. New question. Candidate Dunn, how have you equipped yourself to understand Manatee County's complex issues, including budgeting, development regulations, infrastructure planning, and environmental policy, so that you can make responsible, well-informed decisions as a commissioner?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So I'm local born and raised. I know all the streets and everything in all the neighborhoods I grew up in. So knowing that there's multiple different areas that need multiple different kinds of needs is step one for that. And then I've also been studying the comprehensive plan, and then I've looked in to starting the certified county commissioner program as well. And so with those together, I think that with my background as a local and studying those and my military background, putting them all together, I should be able to be studious to the issues and how to solve them.
Thank you. Candidate Harrison, the same question, understanding Manatee County's complex issues.
Well, actually, being a Manatee County resident for so long, and we've slowly watched the traffic jams and the roads that don't keep up with what should have. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize we're doing something wrong. So as a resident, that's what launches you into our issues because you see what's happening to your neighborhoods. So that first and foremost qualifies all of us because we all live in this district. We see what's happening. Second, all of us have had to have budgets on everything we've ever done. We look at this comprehensive plan and realize that they're just kicking the can down the road. We're not really addressing anything and we're not really putting anything in permanent writing. We're just kicking the can down the road and we're allowing more and more development. We're just opening the doors for that. We have to have better infrastructure. We need a bypass road to get traffic from downtown off these major roads out to the interstate and let the locals have their own separate roads. It's a done deal, but not been done.
Thank you. Candidate Johnson, same question, the county's complex issues.
I think what we describe as complex issues comes down to a handful of people who just have to work within the confines of where Tallahassee has set us up in between the Live Local Act and SB 180. And I think addressing these things comes down to not just, we have a panel full of great people here who all vote in the same way. We obviously all want to stop development or slow it down. But legally speaking, we need people who can go to Tallahassee and say, enough is enough. We can have all the good-hearted people that we want, all the good intentions that we want. But if we don't sit down and look at things in a way of we're over a barrel in so many directions. If we can't come together, put together collective groups to come and lobby, make phone calls to make sure that our state legislation respects home rule, there is nothing really that we can do as county commissioners. Now, my plan is very simple. It is to inform, it's to hold people, to hold meetings, to hold hearings with public. At times they can meet together and come together so we can come together with the same issues and the same motivation to go and get things fixed in Tallahassee so we can have home rule come here.
Thank you. Candidate Stanoch, the same question, Manatee County complexities.
Absolutely. When you look at it, Manatee County government is a pretty large, complex enterprise. And for 2027, we have a budget of $1.447 billion. We have over 2,300 employees and 470,000 constituents. That, in my view, is a very complex organization. I've spent my entire career helping to manage and transform organizations like that. I have extensive experience in long-range strategic planning and budgeting. And I've been studying a lot of the county issues. In fact, you can see a lot of my work on my website. If you go to my website at votemarkstanoch.com, I have a tab there that's called Envision Manatee. And there I introduce concepts like workforce infrastructure and other things that I think are going to be essential for our county moving forward.
Thank you. Candidate Taylor, same question, Manatee complex issues.
I have the privilege of being a born and raised Manatee County myself. My great-grandparents moved here in the 1950s. As I've said before, my grandparents in the military in the 1970s. I married into a family that's largely based in agricultural and cattle, whereas I had grandparents in small business. Where it starts at is we have a variety of diverse interests, from my and the farming interests all the way out to the coast. And it starts with sitting down and meeting with folks and listening to them and going to the various areas of them. I think as an attorney, I've worked in an adversarial system where we work with seniors and kids and different folks to come together to provide solutions. Applying that experience to government will help us listen first and then apply and work on those complex issues for the county.
Thank you. Candidate Arnold, same question, complex issues.
So I've done a lot of research and studying of the agendas and the information that those contain. I've also spent in excess of 80 hours researching the comp plan. I've done a lot of records requests to find out more information. I've spoken with a lot of the employees because the employees of the county are untapped resources of a ton of information. I've studied the budget and know that in the last 10 years, it's gone up 85%, but the growth has gone up only 13%. And I've also been to the Harwood Institute's recent information where they've gone to the out to the public and talk to the public to find out what the public wants, what the public needs to get more informed and more involved, and how they feel about government. And right now, they're not real happy. So I think we need to do a lot of more research, talking to the folks out there in the citizens in our world, because they want to be spoken with.
Thank you. New question. Candidate Harrison. If elected, your term will be 2 years. What meaningful changes do you believe you can realistically accomplish in those 2 years?
Well, first of all, Manatee County needs a public service announcement that each resident would get in case there's going to be a new zoning change instead of some little sign on the side of the road. I also would like to inspire people to get involved, especially an oversight committee, to look at the budget of Manatee County. When we spend or have $115 million, it's been what they call abuse. There's no shortage of money. There's a shortage of looking into it. So we need to look at this budget with a public's view like it's the last dime we have to spend. I want to bring credibility back to this and respect to the Board of County Commissioners, that everyone realizes that the board is working for the people and not the other way around. And so I'm hoping in 2 years, I can at least get that done and slow down some of this growth. And like Adam said about SB 180 and 399, we've got to have those sunset. We got to have a change in that, or we can't do much but just please the people.
Thank you. Candidate Johnson, same question, 2-year term.
Two things. So the first thing is public safety. It is paramount. In District 1, our population growth has exploded, and public safety is teetering on the edge of disaster. We need an independent substation for the sheriff's office. We need independent substations for EMS out in District 1. We have one currently being built right now on State Road 70. That is not where we live. The response times are not going to serve any meaningful purpose to us who live here with a population density that has grown. The second thing we need to look at is making sure that the capital improvement projects that are funded and navigated with the impact fees that District 1 has brought in mass are going towards projects that serve the people, whether it be infrastructure, stormwater management, whatever it may be. But those things need to be codified, signed on a dotted line, and good to go. We do not need to be on a 5-year waiting period as we continue to grow out in District 1.
Thank you. Candidate Stanoch, the same question, 2-year term.
All of my colleagues and I believe that, in 2 years, we really have to raise the level of insistence on curtailing this unbridled growth. But there's something that I'd like to bring somewhat unique to the picture here, and that is we have to do something about the economic development of our county. I don't know if you folks know this, but of the workforce in Manatee County, fully 57% of the people who live in Manatee County do not work in Manatee County. We have an utter lack of high-paying jobs in Manatee County. So in a 2-year period, I think at least we can do is start exploring ways of us attracting, new corporations that pay high wages, that can help close the affordability gap and bring careers to our kids and grandchildren.
Candidate Taylor, same question, 2-year term.
So one of the biggest issues we faced on the trail and listening to folks is bringing people to the table, engaging them. And what we hear is that our infrastructure is at a critical mass. It has not kept pace. We need to focus, number one, on the IST, the infrastructure sales tax, which was approved by voters in 2016. It's due to sunset in 2031. In the next 2 years, we can put it on the ballot. It has to be voted on it has to be put on the ballot for voters to approve. And on a referendum, it means you only have every 2 years to do it. So if we don't put it on for 2028, we're running out of time in order to let the voters decide to work on that important issue, which that IST, which also additionally funds another voter priority, which is public safety. As Mr. Johnson brought up, our response times are getting to be woefully long when it comes to emergency services, and that directly relates to the infrastructure. Faced with the coming potential, if the homestead exemption gets on the ballot and is passed by voters, we're going to have some serious problems, and we need to explore these alternative funding sources to put voter priorities first.
Thank you. Candidate Arnold, same question, 2-year term.
Yes. The first thing I think we need to do is, get staff to give us some of the basic facts that we seem to lack. I've been asking for approximately 6 years how many homes we have that have been built, that haven't been built, that have been approved. Because I don't know how you can keep approving more homes when you don't know how many you've already approved that haven't been built. It's kind of like writing checks on a checking account when you don't know what you've got in the checking account. So I think we need to get a hold of that. I think we need, personally, I think we need to hire an ombudsman that can help with citizen issues when they have problems that are significant. I think that we need to address SB 180 and live local. Certainly, Sarasota County is taking on live local. We aren't. I think we need to help the EMS folks because their response times are longer and it's not their fault. We have a lot of issues. We got to set limits on what amount go on the consent agenda also. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Dunn, same question.
So my focus would be on representation. I think that in our county, there's a lot of questions raised as far as the honesty and transparency and accountability of our local government. So I would push and advocate strongly for a charter in our own county constitution to be written so we can have things set in to protect us, like referendums to the ballot, recall powers of local officials when they break their codes of conduct. And then you go down to the list of like SB 180 and HB 399. Once those are sunsetted, if we can find ways to strengthen our county government around those or away from those and have protections for the wetlands, and then water is the big thing. I think we need stronger water protections as far as it goes from the Peace River Minnesota River Water Authority. We need to make sure that those allocations don't go outside the county. And then it goes down to EMS as well. We have all the growth and the lack of infrastructure and the lack of public services as well with it. So those need to be a focus as well.
Thank you. New question. Candidate Johnson, do you support the constitutional amendment to reduce real estate taxes for most homesteaded homeowners? If yes, how do you propose adjusting the budgets and expenditures of Manatee County?
So this is a very large question for a minute. I think that it's going to pass. Any opportunity to, get your tax money back in your own wallet is a good thing. I am concerned about the housing boom that will come with this nonpartisan bill. I think we will see a residential explosion that will happen. Impact fees will be used to basically compensate for the loss of the bill if it passes. If we're talking about what do we do at a local level, just our own budget, I think we need to define what are vanity projects and what are people projects. Vanity projects should be struck line item one after the other, one after the other. These are things like wrapping electrical boxes. These are, things like we're paying $50,000 a month for generators for county administrative buildings. We should be looking at the real estate the county owns and seeing if we can't sell them when the market is high and get some of that money back into our reserves. Because if this bill does pass, and when it does pass, we need to make sure that we fund our emergency services, and we need to be prepared for a time of famine like we were in 2008 when the housing market collapsed.
Thank you. Candidate Stanoch, the same question.
I'm 100% in support of the amendment. I think that our residents of Manatee County deserve some kind of tax relief. But I think there's a couple of things that we can do to replace the lost tax revenue. The first is to double down on our economic opportunity. We should invest more and to attract more commercial business to the area. By doing so, we would increase the tax base of commercial business, which may be able to replace the loss of tax exempt. And then from a budgetary standpoint, some of the things that we were looking at while I was on the DOGE committee, staffing level is one of the things we have to look at, but we were also looking at a shared services model where through aggregation, we can improve delivery of services at a much lower cost.
Thank you. Candidate Taylor, same question.
We always support the will of the people. When the amendment's on the ballot and it passes, we have to work with that. But similar to what I spoke about earlier, we need to explore alternative options for funding our county's priorities, with public safety being first, followed by infrastructure. The statutes provide for a mechanism to put local option taxes or fees on the ballot for voters to approve so that you can have a funding source for those dedicated priorities. Separately, we have to cut within our own budget, live within our means. And we need to focus on deferred maintenance, fix the stuff that we have first instead of building new shiny things that require even additional funds down the road.
Thank you. Candidate Arnold, same question.
So if the bill passes, I'm very concerned that it will hurt a lot of the working poor, the folks that are making minimum wage, that use things like the libraries and the parks a lot, because they don't have a lot of money to spend, and those will probably see cuts and won't be as available. They may start charging parking fees, and some parks may close. On the other hand, the spending at the county sometimes seems, based on my years of experience doing productivity studies back in the day, is a little bit out of control. The things like already mentioned, wrapping utility boxes, even sending out bills for people that have a credit balance on their utility bill. That's very expensive for, they don't even owe me any money. And then you have the situation with, you have generators for the big new building, but you don't have generators at 4 EMS stations. And those are the people that come to save you after hurricanes. I think we need to reorganize priorities. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Dunn, same question.
Yeah, so the homestead tax exemption is what you're speaking of, the state. If that passes, then we'll have to focus on our budget, and it'll come down to really hitting fraud, waste, and abuse, and then pulling our funding towards essential services like public services first, and then the quality of life stuff like the parks or like the vanity projects like someone spoke of earlier would be secondary to that. So you have to make sure that our essential services are taken care of first. And then I think that can be adjusted with fraud, waste, and abuse to see how much money we're wasting to be able to fund those first. And then as far as the quality of life projects go, it would be something that you'd have to have public-private partnerships with those quality of life services instead of the county fronting the whole bill on those.
Thank you. Candidate Harrison, same question.
Yeah, I don't think it went far enough. I've watched people lose their houses over the taxes, so I don't think this is great. I think it's a good start, but my fear is that the county will create a fee, not a tax, to try to make the money back up. They already wanted to increase the taxes anyway. So we already have some things we have to really deal with. We have to straight to the budget. When you pay $15 million for a little park that you could have bought for less than $1 million, it's pretty ridiculous. They're going to only lose $85 million is what they're saying. But the truth is they're not going to lose anything because they've been overspending. So it all goes right back to the budget and put the people's money back in their own pocket. And you'll see those people be more successful, and it'll work for Manatee County. We just have to be more frugal about our money.
Thank you. New question. Candidate Stanoch. State lawmakers have recently taken over decisions that were traditionally made at the county level. How do you understand the proper balance of authority between the state and the county? And in what situations do you believe county leaders should push back against state actions that affect Manatee County?
Well, first of all, let me tell you that I am a firm believer of home rule. It's people closest to the government that make that can best manage the people. So SB 180, of course, is I believe an overreach from Tallahassee, as is the Live Local Act. I believe that our county commission are the people best equipped to deal with local zoning and building issues, and rather than having dictates from Tallahassee to tell us where and how to develop. I think our remedy for this is, yes, to push back, but also to work with our state representatives in both the House and in the Senate to try to push the legislation in Tallahassee that would bring a return of home rule to the county.
Thank you. Candidate Taylor, same question.
Yes, we have to have a seat at the table as a stakeholder up and down the various levels of government. Home rule is articulated in our Florida Constitution. By having a more meaningful role in Tallahassee, all the way even up to the federal level, up and down government, down to our cities, We need to engage our allies. There are resources that we have. For example, other counties that are like-minded. We have the Florida Association of Counties. We need representation not only in Tallahassee, but also allies and folks on behalf of the county to understand that home rule is a priority first and not usurping local government control. I think by listening, having a seat at the table, we will have a more active role in the legislation that comes out of Tallahassee. And furthermore, by encouraging our locals, our folks here in this town to also be active and let their voices be heard, we can have more effective government and try to get back some of the control that should be based here locally at the local level and at the county level.
Candidate Arnold, same question.
Yes, it seems like lately a lot of bills in the last 5 years or so have been passed in Tallahassee that continually is taking away our home rule. And it's affecting things like the port. We've talked about live local. SB 180, right now we can't fix our wetlands. We can't deal with the problem with our future development area boundary. The voice of the people needs to be heard, and it's not. We need to join with other counties and cities, and we need to push back on Tallahassee, and we need to elect the right kind of people in those roles as they move to Tallahassee to help us. Right now, we don't have a lot of help in Tallahassee, and we should be joining with the folks in Sarasota who are fighting Live Local and getting involved and learning more about how they're fighting it and pushing back. I think it's really important that we start to push back and not just fold over and let them get away with it.
Thank you. Candidate Dunn, same question.
Yeah, so we definitely need to work with our partners at the state and federal levels to help us work on some preemptions and things that are not helping us control the government at the local level. I believe in home rule as well, and I think it was Thomas Jefferson that you could quote saying that the people that are closest to the government, or closest to the issue know how to govern themselves. And I believe that to be true. I also believe that pushing the charter or county constitution would give us inherent home rule and help us in those legal battles when it comes to those preemptions. Sarasota is a good example. They have more ground to stand on. You have to follow the U.S. Constitution and the Florida Constitution, but within that you can write your own at the county level, and it fills in the gray areas. And we should be taking responsibility for what we can take responsibility for by writing that.
Thank you. Candidate Harrison.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is just a terrible thing that the governor has done, an overreach to local governments. I'm totally opposed to the overreach. They talk about government being too large, and then they just made the government larger. We do have to push back. You have to have your senators and your congressmen should have voted in the favor of the people of Manatee County that what they wanted, but they both voted in favor of what our president of the Florida, maybe you call the governor president of Florida, and they voted with him to get this SB 180 on and this House Bill 39 and this Live Local Act. And we have to push back for that. That is not what the Manatee County residents wanted. And just to quote scripture, it's the love of money is the root of all evil, not money, the love of it. And you can see it. They're setting themselves up for the next elections with the money they're getting in, and that's what they're wanting. And Manatee County Board of County Commissioners are afraid to speak up because every time they do, we lose funding. So saying that there's corruption at the top level.
Thank you. Candidate Johnson, same question.
Oh, so much to unpack here. I think my other constituents here put out a pretty good game plan. We are in a very modern age where, if you want to push back on things, you need to be active, not just grassroots, door to door. You need to be active online, social media. I mean, I think that the majority of us are all feeling the same things. It's why the majority of the candidates are all saying the same things. If you want to be able to pressure Tallahassee to do the right thing, it's twofold. You have to be able to communicate and work difficult rooms. This has been my job for the past 5 years, pushing national policy. And you have to be able to come to the table, have hard conversations, and walk away not just with compromise, because compromise both sides lose, with collaboration. If you want to be able to do this, it takes people who know how to work not just from the bottom up at a local level, but also bring national pressure from the top down as well. And I really do believe that is the way we can get back to making sure home rule comes back to Manatee County and all the other counties in Florida.
Thank you. New question. Candidate Taylor, what is your plan for improving and protecting our natural water resources? How should the county assure adequate water resources for citizens and businesses in Manatee County?
You know, this is an issue near and dear to my heart. Having farmers in my family seeing their ponds go dry on their properties. I know folks out in my act are having to drill deeper wells because the water is running out. And frankly, even access to our coastal waters is critical. I think the first thing that we start with is addressing the growth and the unrestricted growth or uncontrolled explosive growth that is occurring, and stop where we're at. There is a line for the future development line for which they want to exceed past. We have to stop where we're at and turn ourselves back forward and fixing what we have. If we start there and start to put in the infrastructure as well as the appropriate stormwater and look for ways to fund our infrastructure, we can start to clean up the water and the habitats and our coastal areas and take pressure off of our underground aquifer by slowing down this growth and actually turning back in towards the county.
Thank you. Candidate Arnold, same question.
Okay, I guess one of the things that I'd say we need to do is we've had in Manatee County in the last 10 years, we have allowed 3,000 acres of wetlands to be totally paved over. And while we're told, oh, that's going to be mitigated, typically it's mitigated to another county. It's not mitigated anywhere in Manatee County. So that's a huge thing. And we need to stop just paving over wetlands because we want another grocery store or we want another house. Bottom line, I think the water's getting to be very critical. I think we can all see that. I know I was at a meeting where somebody pronounced that there were 200 wells that have gone dry in the last year. And having a pond on a farm, I've never seen grass growing at the bottom of it, but it's growing at the bottom of it. It's very clear that we need to become very aggressive about protecting our water and doing all kinds of implementation of things to prove it.
Thank you. Candidate Dunn, same question.
Yeah, so I think we need to strengthen our stance with the county on how we're protecting our water when it comes to the groundwater that we're using for irrigation. They will set, so for instance, stage 3 water emergency from swift mud, and then they regulate the residential water for irrigation, but not the commercial use of it for all these developments that are going in that are watering down their sod and everything else. And then not to mention the phosphate mining out east that needs to be addressed that pumps millions of gallons of water a day. And then you have the wetland issues that we need to protect as much as possible because we can mitigate them, but it's not the same. We can't really get the real ones back. And then we need protections like permanent protections for our coastline like Rattlesnake Key and Terracea area. I think if we can focus really hard on protecting our natural resources here, that would be ideal.
Thank you. Candidate Harrison, same question.
Well, first of all, Sarasota protected the Myakka River, but Manatee County failed to. So now we have 2 golf courses right on the Myakka River, and they use a lot of fertilizer and a lot of fungicide to keep that grass green and have to water it. It's ridiculous that you see people watering medians and stuff at nighttime when there's already been rain and they're still watering because there's no timer that turns off if it's wet. Second, the wetlands are great, but they're muck. They don't filter water to just hold it. We have sand hills all over Manatee County that are the filtration system for our water. And that's where Mosaic is mining at. Mosaic's using 70 million gallons of water a day while you're telling people that they cannot water their yard or wash their car. We should have addressed this. And look at Greyhawk's golf course. It's right on the Manatee River. We should have protected our natural waterways, and we failed to do that.
Thank you. Candidate Johnson, same question.
Well, this is actually a very large state issue. The Florida aquifer is in danger all over the state. It's not just in Manatee County. So I think what you need to do is have a top-down look at this. We need legislation that does protect our waterways, our coastlines, and has responsible people in place, not just people who are, put in these positions who are developer friendly. At a local level, we need to make sure we consider what new things we're bringing in as far as development goes for Manatee County. We don't need data centers that require massive amounts of water and energy. Our infrastructure is already at a critical rate, and bringing in these new things is going to be a disaster for us. I'm also a huge proponent of meritocracy. I'm good at a bunch of things. The environment, this is one of the things that I would definitely see if we can't put together a group of people. I've already spoken with some of the people who know a lot more about this than I do, come together, put together a public committee. So when we go to these meetings, these hearings, we are informed as county commissioners, and we make sure that we're staying within concurrency laws and doing the right thing for our residents.
Thank you. Candidate Stanoch, same question.
Water consumption is a function of population growth. The Florida Legislative Office of Economic and Demographic Research suggests that by the year 2030, there will be over 519,000 residents in Manatee County. So conserving and planning for water usage is of the utmost importance. And as you would expect from a technologist, of course, I have suggestions here that using technology can actually help us preserve and plan for future water usage. Well, there are some near-term things that we use technology for. You don't have to look any farther than Parish, Florida. That's where my good friend Alan Jones from Jones Potato Farm actually introduced a new technology for irrigation that conserves a large percentage of the water for his crops. And there could be some larger kinds of plans in the future. Perhaps a desalination plant, maybe. I don't know. But we have to look at all of these solutions because the population is coming.
Thank you. New question. Candidate Arnold. County commissioners often face competing pressures. How do you balance factors when making decisions, and what principles guide you in determining whose input should carry the most weight?
Personally, if I'm a county commissioner, the people that would carry the most weight with me would be the people who are living in the communities, who are dealing with the issues that they're dealing with on a daily basis. I see it too often. People come in to talk to the BOCC, and they will tell you afterwards, generally speaking, a lot of the time, they didn't even listen to me. They had their minds made up before we even got there. It's very disappointing, very disheartening. And in fact, the study that was done by the Patterson Foundation and the Harwood Group and a couple of other foundations all came up with the response that North River community didn't trust their own government. So we need to start listening to the citizens. That's the most important thing we can do. And we obviously need to get the facts and make decisions based on input and based on facts.
Candidate Dunn, the same question.
So I would answer to the people of Manatee County and specifically District 1. In those communities, I want to have town halls regularly to make sure that I'm hearing the voice of the people. And I've made it a goal this entire campaign to repeat that I am for the people and not the special interest. So when it comes to that, that's what I'm going to stick to. The people will have my ear.
Thank you. Candidate Harrison, same question.
Well, absolutely. You're going to answer to the people in your district because that's the ones that's going to elect you. But you're also working for whole Manatee County, so you may have to negotiate with other commissioners in other districts to try to make sure the people in your district are taken care of. But yeah, we just have to be responsible to the people that have the problems that's going on, and the disrespect that they've received from the BOCC is just they're not accountable for what they've been doing to these people. So yeah, you have to think about, you got to be careful not to pass on misinformation. And that's really a big issue. We keep talking about the water issue in Florida, but I will remind everyone that we are living in the swamp, and it eventually will be a swamp again.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson, same question.
Well, this goes back to meritocracy, right? There's that old idiom, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, sometimes the squeakiest wheels maybe just need to be replaced. So we have a lot of people that have a lot of issues. They come with a lot of complaints, but they're not really solution oriented. I think if you're asking me who I'm listening to, listen, bring your complaints, bring your concerns, but bring me solutions more than anything else. We can't, like the county commissioner, their job is, yes, to vote, but their job is to delegate the will of the people with their vote. So I think the best thing that we can do is meet with the people on a biweekly basis at times and locations that they can actually attend. They can air their grievances, they can bring their concerns, but more importantly, we can talk about solution-oriented fixes to the problems that we're all experiencing, right? And we do that based in D1, and we rotate the locations so we have everyone who has voice, whether it be Duet, Mayaca, or Parish.
Thank you. Candidate Stanoch, same question.
Clearly, it's the people who the Board of County Commissioners should answer to, period. But you know what? The problem is that there isn't consensus among our constituents as to what the greatest issues are. Yeah, I referred to the Harwood group as well, but you know what? I actually knocked on doors to get qualified, and I saw a huge difference in the vision that the people have for the county, and specifically for District 1. There are folks in my neighborhood who believe that we want to maintain the rural character, but there's other people like in North River Ranch, the newcomers to the state, who really are looking for amenities. So I think the first thing we have to do is to gain consensus from our bosses, from our people, from our constituents, as to what the future of District 1 in particular should look like. And we do that through surveys, through town halls, through all kinds of channels of communication.
Thank you. Candidate Taylor, same question.
Manatee County began largely as an agricultural-based county in a rural and a farming community. It has grown, and there's a diverse set of interests across our county. It is very different from out in Mayaca and Duet and Parish as you move into our more urban areas and on the coastal areas. As I've talked about before, having monthly meetings in our various areas and listening to folks first, people who appreciate their diversity while coming together to try to do the most good for the most people. I think if we start with listening to the various areas and preserving our character, we can move forward in a way that does the best for our community while maintaining who we are and our culture and our heritage.
Thank you. New question. Candidate Dunn, what is your approach to transportation planning, including congestion, road maintenance, and long-term mobility solutions? Candidate Dunn.
Yeah, so I think that we need to, if we can slow down the growth, we can catch up a little bit with the infrastructure. And I think that that includes stormwater and focusing on areas that, again, listening to your people. I've had people talk about sidewalks as far as accessibility on the roads in Old Tampa. And they said, and I remember hearing this at the BSCC meeting, they were like, oh, we haven't gotten to that part of the list yet, but then they're building sidewalks at a new subdivision already. So just prioritizing the needs of the people and making sure that we have the infrastructure in place to continue addressing the traffic issues that are going on.
Thank you. Candidate Harrison, same question.
Well, first of all, you need to hire some engineers that can plan where this traffic can go. And then second, when you build roads, those companies that build those roads should be held to the highest standards. And if that road falls apart in a matter of months or a year, they need to be fixing that, repaving it, whatever, at their own cost and not the cost of taxpayers. It's been a free ride for most of them. You can see the roads falling apart. Right now, you look at up Manatee River Road, and a family that's been living in the same house for over 60 years is going to have the road right next to their door. But because they didn't put the road on the other side, they're going to take it away from the locals who live there. But the new neighborhoods get 4 lanes, a median, and a 75-foot green space. A bird in the hand's worth 2 in the bush. The people that have been paying the taxes the longest get treated the least. It's a travesty, and we've got to fix that. And it's easily fixed when you look at the laws, look at what you've got in place, and consider who the people are you're hurting.
Thank you. Candidate Johnson, same question.
Well, this comes down to our comprehensive plan. It comes down to our capital improvement projects, and it comes down to impact fees and how we can lobby Tallahassee and the federal government for grants to build roads. Road building is expensive, and road building needs to happen. I think the first thing we need to do is look at how we do traffic studies and how we determine population density in the roads that we need. Currently, if you want to build an apartment complex like the one built outside of my community, they do not take into effect all of the other apartment complexes they're building. There are 5 in total within a 5-mile radius of where I live, and they're not required to say it's just not traffic from one place, it's traffic from all these places. So we need to go back and we need to quintessentially look at how road planning is even started and put together in the first place. This again happens with lobbying Tallahassee to bring back home rule so we can do our own traffic studies and figure out exactly what it is that Manatee County needs road by road.
Thank you. Candidate Stanoch, same question.
We have to be careful not to put the cart before the horse, and we can't provide a solution without looking at the root cause. I believe that most of the traffic that's caused here in Manatee County is due to commutation to work. And the problem is there are not enough jobs here in Manatee County. So before we even consider, road networks or additional enhancements to transportation, I think we have to look at where we're going to be placing jobs. Once that happens, then we can build the infrastructure to support it. And I'm amenable to all kinds of enhanced transportation, some more buses or other kinds of conveyance. I mean, I've even seen some folks talk about golf carts going along certain streets that you can actually go to stores. So that would help reduce some of the vehicle traffic. But we really got to look at where people are working first before we decide where to put the roads and where to enhance it.
Thank you. Candidate Taylor, same question.
So I think first you have to look at where do the road dollars come from. Right now, 40% of the road dollars in our CIP come from the IST, which I mentioned earlier is about the sunset. So we have to address the funding sources for our roads. Separately, we need to look at more north-south corridors. We have bottlenecks where folks are trying to either get north or south of the river, and we don't have an efficient way to move traffic north and south as there's been so much explosive growth in District 1. That leads me to another point that the dollars that are raised, the tax dollars that are raised in a specific area should not be siphoned off to fund new roads in another area. Understanding that impact fees can only pay for new things, we need to look at our deferred maintenance and improve on what we have and explore public-private partnerships so that we can improve upon the transportation needs that we have here today.
Thank you. Candidate Arnold, same question.
Well, to start with, I guess I'd say we need to slow the growth. I also think that, unfortunately, like I've said, we don't have the data that we need to make informed decisions. We don't know where there are homes that are going to be built that haven't been permitted yet. So we don't know how many there are. We don't know when they're going to be coming online. It's pretty hard to start making informed decisions about where we need to widen roads or what we need to do if we don't have all the data. I know that we do traffic counts, and that's great, but I'm watching the BOCC putting in supermarkets where they're being told, oh, that's going to be an F road by the time the supermarket's done, and it's only 4 miles from another supermarket. And I kind of question the logic in that. I don't understand some of these things that we're doing. We need data to make up our minds about what's the best way to proceed. We don't have it.
Thank you. We are run out of time for any further questions. And so it's your 1-minute summary statement to the voters. Candidate Harrison, please go first.
Well, first, let me say I appreciate what you guys have done putting this forum on. I'm a Manatee County resident for a long time. I still live on 10 acres. I have several horses that I raise and train and we ride, and I like what Manatee County stood for. I don't like that we've turned into this. We're talking about slowing the growth. We already have too much growth. We don't have enough roads for the amount of people that are here. I just know that we need to change some things, and I'm all about that change. I know that with the people's help, we can get the right people in the right places, and we can slow this down, and we can make a difference. You just can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. These people are already here. So now we have to do something to accommodate all the residents of Manatee County, but you can't forget those that have lived there for 50, 60, 70 years. You can't forget these people and like they don't exist.
Thank you. Candidate Johnson, your summary.
Well, my summary is good news for all of the residents in District 1 and Manatee at large. You have a panel full of great people here who are running on the same promises and the same mission to bring you relief, to vote the ways you need them to vote, to restore and bring back what Manatee County has always been, a place you want to grow up and a place you want to raise your kids. But I think if we look at our current situation, where we've come from and how we got here, we can all agree that the way we have done things has not been working, and we need to try something different and try something new. I am a unique candidate in this position. I've been working on national projects for the past 5 years, and I can tell you that all national projects are local stories. We have an opportunity here to put Manatee County on the map in front of millions of people to make sure that we're doing the right things. And if we can give people the courage to do the right thing here, we can not just see our own county be restored to the greatness it once had, we can see the rest of America fight for home rule and to make sure their counties look the same.
Thank you. Candidate Stanoch, your summary.
District 1 deserves leadership that puts residents first. You know, for too long, overdevelopment and lagging infrastructure and limited access to good paying jobs have strained our roads, pushed housing out of reach of most folks, and threatened the quality of life that makes our district special. As our population grows, we need a clear vision for the future of District 1, one that protects our rural character while bringing the right amenities, services, childcare options, restaurants, and opportunities closer to home. This is the moment to demand thoughtful growth, responsible planning, and accountable county leadership, and that's why I'm running. My business experience has prepared me to solve problems, build consensus, and make decisions with fiscal discipline. As commissioner, I will fight for the smarter growth, stronger infrastructure, and better economic opportunity, and a future District 1 residents can be proud of. Ultimately, we all want District 1 to be a premier place to live, work, and play. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Taylor, your summary.
Manatee County has been my family's home for a very long time. I want this place to be as great a place for which I grew up in for our kids and our grandkids and for the folks that have moved here. I'm running on a platform of preserving our quality of life, building our infrastructure, public safety first, and protecting this place. It is important that we reach across the various communities and listen to them first and provide a voice for those who have not been heard before. As an attorney, I work providing a voice for the indigent, for our seniors, for the disabled. And as your county commissioner, I will fight to be your voice, and I humbly request your vote.
Thank you. Candidate Arnold, your summary.
Thank you. I'd like the League of Women Voters and the other candidates for this wonderful opportunity for everybody to meet us and have our voices heard. I believe we need to start listening, first of all, to the employees at the county. I can't tell you how many have reached out to me with wonderful ideas that have fallen on deaf ears so far. And we need to start listening to them and encouraging them. I think we also need to talk to the residents more. I've had some amazing suggestions from residents that are mind-blowingly wonderful. And I think that we can turn the county around and be a county that we are so proud of. It'll just be stunning. And thanks again for the opportunity.
Thank you. Candidate Dunn, your summary.
Yes, so from collecting petition signatures to door knocking, I've talked to people that have been here as early as 6 years ago, and they said the quality of life has been affected tremendously. As a local born and raised and multi-generational Floridian in Manatee County as well, I can agree with them that the quality of life has changed significantly here since I grew up. And I want to preserve what's left for my children and all of our children in the next generation as well. I'm also the only U.S. veteran running. I'm the only former first responder running, and I'm the only candidate seeking local government reform that's in support of a charter, because somebody mentioned it. We can't keep doing the same things over and over and over again, expecting a different result. It's a definition of insanity. I, front and foremost, want to fight for a local government that is honest, transparent, and accountable for itself first. And that way we can protect the people's voice. And then that's the first priority. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Manatee County, we have huge thanks to candidates Elizabeth Arnold, John Dunn, Michael Harrison, Adam Johnson, Mark Stanoch, and Leland Taylor for participating, and for all of you who attended this virtual candidate forum. I want to point out that Manatee Educational TV has been taping all of the virtual candidate forums the league has been holding, and they will be posting all of those on their website channel, and also the METV Facebook postings. So these will be available. This will be included as one of the forums in the whole group playlist. This afternoon's discussion offered voters valuable insight to help make thoughtful, informed choices in the upcoming primary election. The League is hosting one more forum tomorrow for Congressional District 16 Republicans. To register for the last primary forum or to see videos for forums of most primary races at the federal, state, and county levels, please visit the League of Women Voters of Manatee County website at lwbmanatee.org. A thank you to everyone, and for those recording, please stop recording.